Welcome to HSC TV's weekly roundup. I'm Josephina Bergsten. This week's special program features an interview with Basil Fernando, Director for Policy and Program Development at the Asian Human Rights Commission. Mr. Fernando has just returned from a visit to Sri Lanka, a country that has recently witnessed a surprise electoral victory for opposition leader Maithripala Sirisena. The ouster of Mahinda Rajapaksa in the elections has ushered new hope across Sri Lanka, with citizens looking forward to an end to the worst features of the executive presidency, courtesy of the 1978 Constitution, and a return to democratic principles and the rule of law. Here is Basil Fernando.
What we are seeing after the January 8th elections is a very new situation and a very positive situation from many respects. Since 1978 till this last election was a very difficult period for democracy. In fact, it was a very deliberate attempt to undermine democracy and also a seriously repressive period. Repression was intensified due to three factors. In the early period you get two insurgencies, and that was made use of for very large-scale repression, large-scale disappearances, extrajudicial killings, every possible thing. Then the war ended in 2009 May, but that did not lead to a period of expected changes. Instead, the government kept up the same repressive machinery. So you find abductions, what was called the white van syndrome, fear everywhere, and telephone calls with their threats, abduction of journalists, the killing of journalists, and all kinds of repression, which was a very fearful period for in the country. That behind that was this idea of trying to build a one-man power base with absolute power, and of course now it is revealed that massive corruption was going on. It is a kind of unimaginable levels of corruption. That may be the reason why the repression has to be kept up and the newspapers has to be silent. Now that came to an end with decisive people's intervention. Actually, there was no big charismatic leader or some other extraordinary event, but the fact that the people have determined that they will, want an end of this period. So you get a government which consists of many parties, but their agreements are around one single issue. That is, they will undo the scheme of the 1978 Constitution. They will undo the kind of executive presidency that existed under that particular system. They will take away a lot of powers of the president and hand over powers to the parliament and also to a prime minister and a cabinet. And in order to convince the people that this will be done, they gave a 100-day program. And the basics of the 100-day program is putting before the parliament amendment to the constitution, which will undo what is called the 18th amendment, which gave virtually absolute power to the president. And revival of commissions uh, which will be in charge of selecting people for jobs and, particularly senior jobs, and controlling of public institutions. Revival of the public institutions is one of the promises, and the promises which has been pursued fairly seriously so far. And of course, together with that, there was also a promise to bring down the prices of a lot of basic items, which the people found is too high, and this was already done. So overall atmosphere so far is a good one, but it's an intense period of what kind of change will stabilize the democracy and the rule of law. So it is in the midst of that the newfound freedom in the media can be utilized in order to push this program. So the Asian Human Rights Commission very clearly put its position before the country. We got a lot of publicity because we, through the access to the national media, television stations, which gave us a considerable time. And our main program was that the emphasis should be to allocate sufficient funding for strengthening of the criminal investigation divisions in the country, which can take care of crime, and particularly strengthening of the bribery and corruption commission with a change of whole structure, and for that to allocate funds. We have written this to the Minister of Finance, and we mentioned that to the people in the television shows, and this is being discussed.
Now, these are generally very positive signs of change for the better in Sri Lanka. Did you see any worrying signs?
The worrying sign mainly is lack of competence. See, everywhere, both political field as well as in the administrative field of administration and also civil society, a concept for a stable society, the kind of the orientation that is needed, this is not there. And there is nobody guiding them and telling them, this competence has to be developed. So the opportunity is being lost. With the opportunities being lost, there is also challenge from the people who are now, down because of their defeat. They naturally will try to find their way back. So unless this situation is utilized, there are many people who can, intervene to destabilize the situation. For example, just now there is a bill relating to medical, the pharmaceuticals. For example, this bill has been there from 2005, but a lot of interventions by companies, medical companies, prevented it from coming, because this will reduce the price of medicine in a very significant way. For example, every doctor is required to write the generic name of the medicine, not the company name. So like this, so just now it is being introduced. I'm sure this will bring a lot of opposition, not from the people or anybody in the country who is conscious for good purpose, but companies that have been undermined, they will spend a lot of money to get spur up attempt to kind of obstruct this kind of measures. So always within these setups, there will be conflict. For example, if you made an attempt to improve the investigative mechanisms against crime, there's a big lobby on drugs. So one positive measure we saw immediately was a big really cracking down on the drug trade. But these things will have repercussions. These are unscrupulous people who have a lot of money. So that the possibilities of undermining what is going on is there. But the overall situation is more positive because for one factor, what we are now seeing is the emergence of a genuinely local middle class. For democracy, this is a very necessary factor. What we had at the time when we got independence is 1947 was a colonially bred middle class. They were sophisticated, they were educated, they talked in not in local language but in English. They were apart from the people, and they kept up being apart because that brings a lot of advantages for them so long as people cannot really participate. People have suffered through all this, but now what we get is, one positive measure in the past in Sri Lanka was the free education. Free education from the primary school to the university. That brought the rural peasant's child, worker's child, poor people's children into education. And that has also happened for 1 or 2 generations now. So the new middle class, out of those who were poor in the past, they may still be a lower middle class, but still they are conscious middle class, more educated middle class, and they are intervening into the political life. And I think this is going to be the more permanent factor that will stand for democracy. I don't think that can easily be suppressed. So more of this, and with the modern technology, the computers, the mobile telephone has made a huge change into the country. People are more connected. Every small thing they talk among themselves. So mobile telephone can do wonders in an underdeveloped country because it's cheap and young people learn to use it. So this new middle class, which is locally based and who knows the local people and their poverty and their problems, I think this is the more permanent factor. With that, you can fight a lot of things. If great opportunities are given for education, and at the moment you need the intellectual side, the thinking side, to develop capacity. And Sri Lanka has a good opportunity to become at least a place like Hong Kong or that kind of development.
What do you think will happen to former President Rajapaksa?
That's a very big question. The question is whether the government will show capacity to enforce law irrespective of who is powerful. Unfortunately, this tradition is not there. In our countries, the law has always been for the poor. And while there's a lot of scandals being exposed, actually arresting these people and bringing them to justice is an extremely difficult task. Otherwise, by now, at least some very close people to him should be, already under arrest. So definitely they don't have, the Rajapaksa family as such, and the former president does not have much of a political future. But they have made a lot of money. And I suppose, like everybody, they will try to use it for their defense and to create problems. But if the government, improve its criminal justice capacity, that is why, this country has a lot of future, because these are not big people. This is not compared to, mafias in big countries. So it is possible to, suppress this kind of lawless elements, but it is the political will based on the capacity in the criminal justice system, And I think the police have shown a tremendous willingness to cooperate. In fact, there is at the moment investigation into an attempt at the last moment to subvert the counting of election. And among those who opposed it was the Inspector General of Police. He said that I will not obey illegal orders. And the Attorney General. So the bureaucracy were more resilient than we thought they were capable of. So something of what the colonial, positive side of colonial contribution still is there. So if people intelligently cash on this, I think, Rajapaksas, that is, they are doomed.
That is all for this week's program. For more on these and other issues, please visit www.humanrights.asia. Thank you for watching, and see you again next week.